Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt and I do like video games, and in today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about Microsoft clapping back at Sony on their comments about Activision and Call of Duty. So let's get right into it. So we all remember last week when Sony's comments about Microsoft's acquisition of Activision were made public. It certainly seemed like Sony wasn't pleased, to say the least. They made multiple points in their comments, but I think the overall sentiment was that people were saying that Sony was afraid of this deal because it could mean losing Call of Duty on their platform. And to keep things relatively short on that part, I said it in my video, Phil Spencer already stated before that Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation even beyond existing agreements. And if that wasn't enough proof, well, Microsoft made it clear again in their response to Sony's comments that Call of Duty will indeed remain on PlayStation. But that's definitely not all they said in their response to Sony's comments, because it seems like Microsoft has finally had enough. After getting kicked in the teeth all last generation, Microsoft seems ready to stick up for themselves, because in their response to Sony's comments, they mentioned the fact that Sony was basically paying companies to not put their games in Xbox Game Pass. I think probably the most notable and recent example of this, at least that we know of, is the whole deal with Resident Evil Village. We all know that PlayStation has marketing rights for pretty much anything Resident Evil related nowadays, and there were some leaked documents between Sony and Capcom around late April of last year that seemed to show an agreement that Capcom's latest entry into the series would not be allowed to go into Game Pass until at least a year after the game's release. Now, is this kinda scummy? Sure, I guess, but at the same time, it's business. And if those documents are to be believed, because let's be honest, we don't know if they're real or not, but if they are to be believed, then it would stand as proof that Sony is rather cutthroat when it comes to how they treat the competition. Which again, like I just said, it's just business, but you can't be doing business like that and then get mad at the competition when they take steps to prevent that from happening. And Microsoft's way of preventing that from happening just happens to include buying these publishers and studios so that there's no way a deal can be made to prevent the growth of Game Pass. Which, by the way, people love to talk about this whole idea that Microsoft is anti-competition because they're going after Activision or because they purchased ZeniMax Media. Well, it's easy to say that until you remember that Sony is literally coming off of an entire generation of being the market leader. It's crazy to be the market leader and then actively be making deals like that to ensure that competition can never catch up. That is anti-competition. Keep in mind that at the start of the Xbox One generation, Microsoft had like 5 studios. And after fumbling the start of the generation with how they showcased the Xbox One, it seemed like they were on their way out. It took Phil Spencer actively convincing higher-ups at Microsoft that Xbox was worth the investment. And after that convincing, you started to see that investment in their hardware with the Xbox One X. You saw it with the studio acquisitions like Ninja Theory, Obsidian, In Exile, Double Fine, Playground Games, and many more, on the way to even bigger acquisitions like ZeniMax Media, and now with the entirety of Activision Blizzard. Having only 5 studios and a dwindling budget wasn't how Microsoft was going to compete, so they made all of those massive investments. Meanwhile, that didn't stop Sony from having one of the best generations of all time, last generation. It also hasn't stopped Sony from having an amazing start to this generation. When it comes down to it, what this is really all about is competition. And at the end of the day, these businesses and giant corporations like Microsoft and Sony aren't our friends. They're after what's in our wallets, but the fact is that each one competing for what's in our wallets gives us the gamers a better product when it's all said and done. Sony still makes fantastic exclusives, and they're not going to stop anytime soon. Microsoft is offering nearly unprecedented value with Xbox Game Pass, and with the promise of their first-party studios on the horizon, there's plenty to look forward to. And one final point on this whole acquisition and this back-and-forth legal jargon between Microsoft and Sony. What really matters in regards to this acquisition is the people at the studios who are making these games. Being acquired by Microsoft is something that can only make that work environment better. It would be damned hard to make that work environment worse from all the stuff we hear about it. Think of all those talented studios and talented developers just being relegated to this never-ending loop of working on Call of Duty. Like, I get it, Call of Duty is incredibly important and you want all hands on deck, but when it's actively hampering creativity and limiting other possibilities within these studios, then it's starting to become a problem. Maybe with this deal we can start to see revivals of our old favorites from Activision, because if you remember, Phil Spencer specifically mentioned things like King's Quest, Guitar Hero. For God's sake, he mentioned Hexen. Phil Spencer mentioned Hexen. Maybe you can pull some of these developers off of Call of Duty and let them make not only those things, but things we've never even heard of yet. Brand new things, brand new experiences. That, to me, as a gamer, is what is most important about this acquisition. Obviously, people are going to say Call of Duty, and for me personally, I can take it or leave it. I'm hyped for Modern Warfare 2. I love Infinity Ward. But like, you know, Sledgehammer and Treyarch, it's not my style. It's not my thing. So I'm only really hyped for Call of Duty every third cycle. And with this deal, everyone still gets Call of Duty. Whether you're on PlayStation or Xbox or PC, you're still getting Call of Duty. And someday soon, maybe hopefully with this deal, someday soon, Activision can finally go back to being the creative powerhouse that it once was. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the whole situation. Obviously, there's no way that these comments from either side were meant to be seen by the public, but it is an interesting insight into the whole behind-the-scenes aspect of a deal this big. So leave your comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about this whole thing. Leave a like if you liked the video, and please remember to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell if you're enjoying the content and want to stay up to date on all my latest videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.